Cody Bellinger's the cleanup hitter. What a series Matt Kemp has had. He starts in right tonight. Yasiel Puig getting the night off. Jock Peterson makes his first start of this series. Chase Utley's in there again. Max Muncy, his first start in a Dodger uniform against the 24-year-old out of the Dominican Republic. Luis Perdomo back from that 5-game suspension to make his 4th start of the year.
Relies heavily on movement. Fastball, predominantly the two-seamer. Curveball, changeup. Kind of gotten narrowed down into a 2-pitch pitcher so far because the changeup has not been very good. The command is not good. If the Dodgers are patient, you can sit on him and wait for strikes, but you're not sure where it's really going to be because when he's on, it's effectively wild.
Dodgers trying to win their 4th in a row and looking for their first series sweep of the season as Chris Taylor attacks the first pitch, and off we go with a foul ball and a strike. Padres had won 5 of 7 coming into this series. They'd won 3 in a row against the Giants. The Dodgers taking the first 2 games, 10-3 on Monday, 7-3 last night in 12 innings. Gotta be careful with that bat. It's hot.
Yeah, don't cut yourself.
Yeah, don't do that either.
Sometimes you let the trainers do that. Keep sharp objects away from hot hitters.
2 balls and a strike. Chris Taylor watches it miss badly. Ball 3. Perdomo gave up 5 runs in his season debut against Milwaukee, but then held Houston to 1 run over 5 innings in a win in Houston. So this is a guy who, when he's on, can be very good. Tails that one in for a strike, and the count is full on Taylor.
Against Houston, Joe. Sorry, they started to throw their fastballs inside as a whole staff, and they were not just knocking Houston off the plate, they were throwing him in there for strikes.
Strikes Taylor out with a tailing fastball, 1 away. Dodgers taking on Luis Perdomo today, brought to you by AARP, and he has faced them a bunch over the course of his first 2 major league seasons. He's allowed 30 runs in 30 innings. That includes in his major league debut on opening day here 2 years ago when he gave up 6 runs in 1 inning. And so after a day in the majors, he had an ERA of 54. He misses with a ball on Seager.
Not what you dream about.
No. Seager dribbles it foul, and it's 1-1. He's hit Perdomo well, close to 400 in his career against him.
Well, you'll know if Perdomo's on because he'll be getting a lot of ground balls. #1 in the National League. Last year, the percentage of ground balls that he got, 62%.
So far, that's way down around 40% this year. The line drive rate has gone way up. Fly ball foul, 2-2.
With his 2 main pitches, the curveball, which is very effective swing and miss pitch, but it also is getting hit hard this year. And with his 2-seamer, it's very effective when down, gets the ground ball, but when up, it's getting hit hard. So it's all about altitude for him. He's got to keep the ball down by the knees.
Oh, how much movement does that thing have on it? At 95, it misses, but you can see the life on that pitch that makes him effective when he commands it.
He's got a very good hand as far as feeling how to spin the ball, loose wrist.
Seager takes a walk. The Dodgers have their first base runner of the night. Something they've done a whole lot more of the last few games. 20 walks over the last 3. Comes Grandal.
Isn't it interesting that the walks have coincided with the 3-game winning streak?
That's right. And it came after that hitters meeting where Chase Utley and Justin Turner both spoke up and made it an emphasis, getting back to that patient approach that led him last year. Grandal takes a strike. They led baseball in walk rate a year ago. But we're near the bottom of the majors prior to this 3-game winning streak. A little bit outside, 1-1.
The Dodgers will be taking inventory here early on Perdomo. A, can he command more than one pitch? So far, 3 curveballs, all for balls. And then, is he even commanding the fastball? Can they just sit up there and wait for the walk?
On a 1-1, Grandal watches it in there for a strike, 1 and 2.
So far, the fastball to the glove side seems to be the one that Perdomo is locking in on. That's what he locked Chris Taylor up on, and that's what he got that called strike there with Yasmani.
And now on a 1-2, goes back to it, and it's fouled off. Grandal hitting .347. That's the second best average in the National League. Went over his first 5 last night. In the 12th inning, the 2-run double. They give the Dodgers the lead in that 7-3 win. It's quite a list, huh? 5 guys you wouldn't have expected anywhere near the top of the National League leaderboard in that category. And it's a good reminder how early it still is. I know the Dodgers don't want to talk about that in terms of their record. But as far as guys' overall lines, you don't imagine Ryan Flaherty's going to lead the National League all year. On another 1-2. Curveball. Grandal tries to lay off and does. Count evens.
That is a check swing of a guy who is very hot. Just think about it. If you're not seeing the ball well, you're a little anxious, you're not in the groove like he is, you probably follow through with that swing and strike out. He's still up there.
And that is when he gets so hot, when he's able to command the zone the way he is. Yanks a bullet into the right center field gap. Perella cuts it off. Seager headed to third. Grandal with another base hit, and they have him cornered with 1 out. Man, a screamer off of the bat of Grandal on the 7th pitch.
Takes a curveball in the dirt to get to this one. Come back with it because, oh, you almost offered at it. But Perdomo doesn't throw a good one this time. It's a lot worse than the one that was in the dirt. Leaves it up, and when you're hot like Yasmani is right now, you don't miss those.
It's a pretty swing when it's right. 2 on with 1 out, and the hitter is Bellinger. I talked about Cody off of the top tonight. He was just 1 for 6 last night with a triple, but that hustle on what would have been a double play in the 12th inning kept the inning alive and gave Grandal a chance to win the game with his double. That's a base hit into center, and the Dodgers waste no time getting on the board against Perdomo. Bellinger with an RBI single, and it's 1-0 here in the first.
It's a fine line between a 2-seamer that is sinking and one that's just tailing, and you can see that one right there. Almost stays on the dish, but Belly's got enough swing to stay on it. But the ball is not sinking. It's just tailing over there and kind of flat. He capitalized on that pitch.
And now Matt Kemp. What a series he's having against his old team. Home runs in each of the first 2 games. Batting here with 2 on and 1 out in the first inning. Swinging to the first pitch, a roller along third. Villanueva with a running throw that's late, and it gets by Hosmer. Grandal coming in to score. Bellinger gets the wave and will score without a throw. It's 3-0. It's rolled a single and then an E5, allowing the second run to score.
Just a little chopper. Matt Kemp has had a lot of success on the first pitch. This one leads to success. We get to see Cody Bellinger run again. Boy, he's flying around the bases the last couple of games.
Grandal better get moving, right? He's right on his heels there.
Yeah.
So already a mound visit from Darren Balsley, and this is not the first time the Padres have had issues defensively in this series. Opened the door for a big inning in game 1 with some defensive misplays. The same thing here in the first of game 3. 18 errors this year. Only the Brewers have made more. Kemp at second with 1 out. Here's Jock Peterson. First start since Saturday for Jock. He looks at a curve for a strike. You said it during the pregame show. Try and forget about the line. Try and forget about the 148 average, because all the Dodger coaching staff really likes the way the ABs look right now. How patient he's been. He's been drawing a lot of walks. And the BP has looked really good. Seems like he's close.
It does seem like he's really close. So much potential in his bat. And once you reach the potential, you want to be consistent. So he really has 2 steps that he's trying to make here in 2018.
Perdomo's 0-2, and he makes quick work of him this time. 2 out. And the Padres defense tonight, brought to you by Keck Medicine of USC. We're talking about in this series has been ugly defensively for him, and it's led to some key runs for the Dodgers.
Infield, outfield, throwing the ball, catching the ball. This one that just happened that opened up a little bit of the floodgates, getting by there. Kemp gets the second. Cody Bellinger scores all the way from first.
2 outs. Kemp at second, and the batter is Chase Utley. Creeps over the plate, watches that one into the glove for ball 1.
Is it just me, or he's creeping up on the plate a little bit more often than he did last year?
It seems like it. Getting more fearless with age. And a guy in Perdomo who's already uncomfortable. Just can't help. Lays off a strike, 1-1. Chase getting some good playing time lately. Part of the trickle down of Logan Forsythe's injury, but 4th start over the last 5 games. Part of it is that he's needed because of the injuries, but part of it is he's produced every time they've put him in. It's a fly ball the other way. Corey Spangenberg is waiting under it, and that's that. But the Dodgers strike for 3, taking advantage of some more shoddy Padres defense. And Kenta Maeda's got a nice lead before he even takes the ball. For Maeda on the top of the 1st inning. The Padres coming to bat with this lineup presented by 76. lead the majors in strikeouts, but they also lead the National League in extra base hits. So kind of a boomer bust group. Eric Hosmer, their big free agent pickup. Christian Villanueva has been nice as a rookie. Galvis, another new piece that's having a nice season so far for San Diego. They face off with a guy trying to have a bounce back outing. Got to Maeda Friday against Arizona, lasted only 2 2/3, and they say that part of that could be attributed to the rust. He had only thrown 1 inning over the previous 12 days.
It's really hard, you know, to get up and you're in the bullpen, and he's a great team player, but pitchers, starters like rhythm. They like to know when they're throwing, how to do their routines, and I think it really affected Kenta. He will not tell you that, but he walked a couple guys in 2 2/3. He threw the ball away. This is a guy who won 5 gold gloves over in Japan. That's not normally him.
Back on the hill where he made his major league debut a couple of years ago, and starts his night with a strike on Perela. The Dodgers have neutralized in this series. Came in leading baseball in hits. 0 for 9. Left it over the plate, but fouled off. 0 2. 0 for 9 and 4 strikeouts. Padres last night matched the franchise record, 20 strikeouts in that game. And in the 2 games in the series, 32 strikeouts.
They're kind of a boom or bust offense.
And bust for the first debut of the night. Dodger defense brought to you by Keck Medicine of USC. We showed one side of things. That's the poor defense so far in this series. Dodgers have played some really good defense.
They were known for their defense last year. Now they're really getting on that wagon. Yasiel Puig, Wilson, Defensive Player of the Year out there in right field, showing that he's going to do it here in 2018, and he'd like to move over a brand and go to the Rawlings Gold Glove.
It's nothing against Wilson, but great company. Strike 1 on Franchy Cordero.
It just seems like it's got a little bit more clout because it's been around longer, but statistically, the Wilson glove, when you win that for being a great defender, it's actually more statistically correct. It's not just an eyeball test.
1-1 on Cordero. Yeah, they use a lot of the advanced defensive metrics. Have you latched on to one
Not
in
yet.
particular that you think is?
Nope.
You know?
I've studied them here and there, but I still haven't figured out all the formulas where weigh one over the other.
1 and 2.
Gave me a bad taste in my mouth early on because they didn't even attribute where a guy was playing. It was just like, oh, the regular shortstop usually plays there, and then they do range factor. But now it's getting a lot more sophisticated with all the different things they're calculating.
Right, struck out Perela, and now he's upstairs with a fastball on Cordero to even the count at 2 and 2.
You asked that question like you might have found one that you
not
kind of like.
necessarily. No, and I would like to. I'd like to find one that I feel like I can lead on. You know, when you're taking a look at defensive metrics, fouled off, still 2 and 2. Of course, you have defensive runs saved, ultimate zone rating. People have kind of gone away from fielding percentage. Still not a bad thing to look at errors and the raw numbers there. It's never going to fool you. Breaking ball falls in there for strike 3, and Maeda opens his night with back-to-back strikeouts looking.
Kenta doesn't usually use the curveball to finish somebody off, but this one topples in over the outside corner there. Usually a pitch that he'll steal a strike with early in the count.
Brings up Hosmer. Starts him with an off-speed pitch. It's a little bit up for ball 1. I think there are a couple of, you know, his StatCast is becoming more and more prominent, or we're drawing more and more information from it. There are a couple things that it's tracking that I think could lead to really good defensive metrics that you can trust. 2-0. You know, catch probability incorporated into some of those categories. Outs above average is a category they have right now, and that's all used from the actual data that's tracked by the same radars that are tracking exit velocity and things like that. On a 2-0, Hosmer looks at a strike.
Yeah, when you're looking at route efficiency and break times and then the speed the guy's running, and I think those kind of statistics are marvelous. I think you can all of a sudden, because you get some like loping long stride outfielders that don't look like they're going anywhere, but they catch everything. Then you get other guys that look like they're really, really fast because they're pumping and they're going at it, but they're not going as far as the guy that has the nice long stride and runs a very accurate route.
Two balls, two strikes on Hosmer. Maeda throws, and Hosmer takes a ball, full count. Just a couple of those StatCast defensive categories we're talking about. Outs above average. Major league leader so far, Byron Buxton. Or actually, that is from last year. Led the majors in outs above average, which is drawn from StatCast data. And I think that's a pretty good guy to have at the top of a category when you're trying to see how valid it is. Three-two, a pop-up, and that'll reach the seats. Another thing they do on StatCast is they have 5-star plays, 4-star plays, and so on based on the catch probability. How often a ball that's hit a certain speed to a certain spot is expected to be caught. It only happens less than 25% of the time. That's a 5-star play. Hit hard on the ground, but right at Cody Bellinger. And that does it for the Padres in a 1-2-3 first. Off and rolling in San Diego. Dodgers going for the sweep and leading 3-0. First against Luis Perdomo, and now 33 runs against Perdomo in 31 lifetime innings against him. Max Muncy starts the inning and looks at a strike. First at bat as a Dodger last night, had a base hit, and now his first start in a Dodger uniform. Watchers had miss away, 1 ball, 1 strike. That last night, the base hit he had in extra innings just kind of looked like what we saw all spring long from him.
I wandered up around the cage close to him, said congratulations. I said it was nice to get that one out of the way. He goes, oh, it sure is. Said nothing better than getting in a new uniform and doing something fun and successful right away. You don't want to take an 0 for 15 and think about when's that first one coming.
Takes a little bit high, 2-2. It's an old Oakland A. Max Muncy is. Parts of 2 seasons there. Native of Midland, Texas. Waits on a 2-2. And a tailing fastball just misses to run it full. 8-9-1 in this inning. Perdomo's payoff. Inside on Muncy. That's a leadoff walk. Brings Maeda to the plate. We look at our Carl's Cam, his first career major league game. He looks like he's about 20 years younger there. It's only 2 years ago he went deep.
But remember the story in spring training, his first spring training, Dave Roberts throwing batting practice to him, and he was hitting homer after homer after homer, and he wondered, oh my gosh, what's in the bat? So Maeda switched bats. They made a little bet about dinner if he could hit a home run with the other bat. Maeda went right to it and hit a home run.
Never did cash that dinner in, by the way.
Really? Well, we need to remind Dave Roberts about that.
I think we need to remind Kenta to remind Dave.
Yeah, but you can't renege on a bet with a guy that just joined your team and you're the manager. Let's go. That breaks many of baseball rules.
Well, he signed an 8-year deal, so there's still plenty of time.
He needs to take his whole family out now.
Corners came crashing in, and it's almost like Perdomo got distracted by how hard Hosmer was coming, stepped off and stared at him. The 1-0. Maeda lays it down nicely. Hosmer will throw him out. Into scoring position goes Muncy.
That's a great bunt. Ball's up in the strike zone. He still uses the technique to deaden it because he knows they're charging. So what's most important about this bunt is the distance it travels away from home plate. When they're charging on you, it doesn't matter the angle as much. It matters to get it out there about 20 to 22 feet or so. So then it's in a place that no man's land. They can't throw the ball to second.
Second time through the order now. Here's Chris Taylor. Worked the count full his first time up and eventually took strike 3 on a fastball. Pops the first pitch foul, strike 1. Now Perdomo, just 24 years old, already in his 3rd major league season. He made the majors well before he was ready, because he was a Rule 5 selection. So he pitched 5 seasons in the Cardinals organization, never above A ball. The Padres took him in the Rule 5 draft, and when you do that, you have to keep the guy in the major league roster. Taylor drives a ball in the air to center. Caught by Cordero for out number 2. If you want to take him off the 40-man, send him down to the minors, you have to offer him back to the team that you got him from, and the Padres didn't want to do that. Forced to keep him on the roster that entire season. So he took his lumps at an ERA near 6 as a 22-year-old. Started in the bullpen, moved into the rotation partway through the season. And then last year, in his first full year in the rotation, dropped the ERA down below 5. And it's easy to forget that he's still only 24 years old because he's been here a while. But again, he was here earlier than normally he would have been. 2 out for Seager, who takes the ball.
As an organization, you get to pluck another player with a lot of talent from another organization, but in putting him above where he is ready, it can sometimes stunt your growth. You don't get the same amount of experience, and you definitely are not experiencing success where your confidence grows.
Seager slices an opposite field base hit. Muncy will come in to score on a 2-out single from Corey Seager, and the Dodgers lead it 4-0.
Take a look at Corey Seager in our Volkswagen replay. It's a sweet swing right there. Not trying to do too much with it. A basic solid line drive to left field from a left-handed hitter. That means you are swinging it right.
Last couple days, he's really started to get it going, Corey Seager. 2 outs for Grandal. First pitch off speed in there for a strike. And the numbers may not show it as far as the outcomes, but look at the last 2 games, how he's flipped the script from what was happening in the previous 5. It's almost all soft ground balls in the 5 games before. Hardly any ground balls in this series. More than half of what he's hitting has been really well struck.
Dave Roberts talks about the flight pattern. He's hitting more balls in the air to the correct side of the field.
A lot more line drives, a lot more fly balls. Outside on Grandal, 2-1. Asmani's staying hot his first time with a base hit, came in to score. Now on a 2-1 pitch, takes ball 3.
This starts on the inner half and tails down the middle. It could go a long way.
Instead, it tails over the outside corner for a strike, 3-2.
Just clipped it.
Bit of a delayed strike call there from Hunter Wendelstedt. 4-0 in the second. Seager will be off and moving with a pitch. Here it comes. Grandal cracks a soft bouncer to the right side. Villanueva, third baseman, moved over there in the shift. And that does it for the Dodgers in the second. They add 1 and a base hit from Seager to the bottom of the second, up 4-0.
Friday on an all-new Backstage Dodgers, LA Rams running back Todd Gurley pays a visit to the Dodger Stadium to throw out the first pitch, plus JT Chargois adjusts to life in LA. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers, presented by Cadillac. Friday after the postgame on Sportsnet LA.
Gotta get right, bro.
That'll be after the series opener with the Washington Nationals on Friday night. Max Scherzer takes it for Washington. And as Alana told us before the game, Dodgers still not sure what they're going to do and what was Rich Hill's spot. If you're just tuning in, Rich Hill placed on the disabled list with a cracked fingernail on his middle finger on his throwing hand. Christian Villanueva starts the second and takes ball 1 high. They could move everybody up. That's an option that they're weighing. Because of the off day, it'd still have everybody on regular rest. If they did that, it'd be Kershaw against Scherzer on Friday. Villanueva slices a line drive base hit to right center. And the only guy that's been consistent at the plate in this series for San Diego. That extends his hitting streak to 6 games and hitting above 500 during that stretch.
Dodgers have cooled off his long ball threat, but he is still getting his knocks. Very sweet swing off a firm left side.
So up comes Freddie Galvis. He's had success against Maeda in a Phillies uniform with a home run and a double. Galvis takes slow ball 1. He's 28 years old now. Originally from Venezuela, where he learned the game from his dad, Freddie Sr. Great player himself coming up in Venezuela. Had some pro interest. And he injured his knee while turning to double play in a bad takeout slide. And instead of pursuing a playing career, devoted himself to teaching his kids the game. Grandal keeps it close. 2 balls, no strikes. Freddie Jr. started playing when he was 4. So many kids do in Venezuela. Such a great baseball country. He lived in the city, so they didn't have many diamonds to go play at. They'd play in the street. The innings breaks were for the cars to pass through. That's a strike, 2-1. The 13 that Freddie Galvis wears. Yes, that's Omar Vizquel, who so many guys coming out of Venezuela gravitate towards and wear the number of. But that is also the street that he lived on, 13th Street. And that's how they divided up the teams for that street baseball. Pop up behind second. Chase Utley calls off a charging Kemp. 1 out. Kenta wants a new baseball. He'll get it to face Carlos Suaje. Carlos struggling. 4 for his last 35. Did have a base hit in last night's game. Up, ball 1.
All Kenta needs to do is get a ground ball back to himself and start a double play. That would make everything from the last outing erased. He's throwing strikes. He's attacking the hitters here. Now get back to being that Gold Glove fielder.
Really critical error in that 4-run third inning his last time. Does get a ground ball, but it sneaks through on a bounce by Bellinger. Villanueva holds it second on the second hit of the inning against Maeda.
Off-speed pitch that it had him out in front of, but out in front to the point where the direction is right in the hole. Chase Utley pinching over there. Bellinger with great range and a dive, but still found a way to get it to right field.
I said ground ball. Wasn't really a ground ball. To go down as a line drive. And put him at first and second with 1 gone for Corey Spangenberg. Who lost out on the starting second baseman job to Suaje. But on the roster as utility man, and with some of the injuries they've had early on, he's still seeing pretty consistent playing time. Get me over curve for a strike. Seen Kenta already go to that a couple times.
Finished off Cordero with it. That's not the usual use right there. That one is how he usually steals a strike with it.
Spangenberg fouls it, and it's 0-2. Spangenberg from a very unlikely college program. VMI. That's the Virginia Military Institute, where he was a standout player. He was the conference freshman player of the year. With the military commitments, as you can imagine, pretty heavy, keeping him from fully investing in baseball, and his career starting to take off. So transferred to a junior college. Yanks a base hit to right. Kemp's got it on a bounce. They hold Villanueva. The bases are loaded.
Padres are aggressive, and when they swing, even when you get them out in front, you've got to get the ball a little bit lower. Then those balls, when they're out in front, end up hitting the top of them and getting the ground ball. But the last two, Kent has had them out in front speed-wise, but the ball has been up.
So the bases are loaded for Austin Hedges. The Padres are just desperate to get going. As good as he is defensively as a catcher, and that is the primary thing with a catcher after all, they need more from him at the plate. 137 so far. Ball one. The Dodgers in particular have been his kryptonite. 6 for 69 against LA in his career. Maeda brings him a 1-0, and it's a breaking ball high. 2 balls, no strikes.
Looking for a ground ball right here, get a double play. Right-handed hitting catcher, doesn't have the wheels to beat it out, get out of this inning. But you got to get the ball down by the knees to get that grounder.
Maeda only has 1 ground ball so far. On a 2-0, overthrows it. Ball 3 with nowhere to put Hedges. Pitcher due next. Trying to battle back to get the 8-hitter. Put himself in a good spot to get out of this jam. On a 3-0, he throws a strike 3-1.
And it was a slider. Shows you where his confidence is with that pitch. Has been pulling the fastball, has been kind of leaving the curveball up. Those are just a little get over slider.
Set in the 3-1. Ball 4. And the Padres on the board with the bases loaded walk.
Kent, it's his fault that he got the 3-0 because none of those pitches were borderline. The 3-0 pitch was a strike, and this is a strike also. The count should be 3-2. It is right there. No excuse that that pitch gets called a ball. Both teams have had a little trouble with Hunter Wendelstedt tonight behind the plate. We've heard some chirping from both dugouts.
That wasn't even borderline.
No.
So 4-1. They're still loaded up, and here's Perdomo, who's better than your average hitting pitcher. Big swing and a miss at the first one. In fact, last year, Luis Perdomo had 4 triples, which was 1 more triple than the rest of the league's pitchers combined. First pitcher that had 4 triples in a season, more than half a century. Oh, 0-2. A ball and 2 strikes.
Kenta still struggling with that fastball command. Got to erase that slider that should have been called a strike, that walked a run in out of your mind, and concentrate on the problem at hand. Easier said than done.
Here comes with a 1-2 and a high fly ball to left field. Jock Peterson towards the sidewall, makes the catch. Here comes Aswahe. Peterson's throw not in time, and it's 4-2. Sacrifice fly, Luis Perdomo.
In some ways, you're glad it's just a sacrifice fly. The throw there, Jock made a very strong throw, just got up the first baseline, but it would have been bang bang if it was right on line. The reason I'm saying it's glad it's a sacrifice fly, Perdomo not your typical pitcher, and that was kind of a hanging slider that he just barely got under.
First and second, 2 out for Jose Pereira at the top of the order. Took strike 3 called his first time. 0 for 10 in the series now.
Very hard sometimes for a pitcher and a catcher to get on the same page when pitcher's kind of out of sorts. Fastball command is off. Slider has been slightly up, but it's his best strike pitch. In Kenta's more aggressive and better outings, we see him attack with the high fastball and the high cutter to sometimes finish hitters off. Hasn't really been able to go to that.
Chopper to third. Muncie's got it, and he'll beat him to the bag to end the inning. But the Padres get a pair from the bottom of the order. Maeda not very sharp there in the second. 4-2 onto the third.
when the first 40,000 fans in attendance receive a Cody Bellinger bobblehead commemorating his National League Rookie of the Year award, courtesy of Spectrum. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Strike one on Bellinger from Luis Perdomo. RBI single in the first inning. The Dodgers played at 3. Got one more in the second. And a base hit from Corey Seager. Here comes a 1-1. Bellinger takes ball 2. Big rip and a miss. 2-2.
Crowding the plate, little breaking ball that gets just under that swing that looks a lot like the swing that he hit a triple with last night.
Down the left field line, peeling to the corner. It's a fair ball. Bellinger to second with a leadoff double.
Wow, was that a pretty swing? And I don't mean it's his typical swing, but it's a pretty swing how he stays on top, shortens up with that ball up in the strike zone instead of collapsing the backside a little bit and have that majestic uppercut where he hits the ball to right a lot. That ball, he stayed on top, stayed tall, and drove it.
So he's his second as Matt Kemp comes up. And Kemp's roller in the first inning that was thrown away by Villanueva at third was ruled a base hit. And Kemp now 4 for 6 in this series as he looks at a strike and it's 0-1. Well, Matt Kemp admitted in a Players Tribune piece a couple of years ago that when he was here in San Diego, he thought that he lost a little bit of his love for the game. Spent his first 9 years with the Dodgers, then a year and a half here after he was traded. Swings and misses. Ball's behind 0-2. And he promised in that piece to Braves fans that those days were behind him, that he'd recaptured some of his love for the game. No question now, back with the Dodgers, reinvigorated by being with a contender again, because he wasn't in the 2 years in San Diego or in the 2 years in Atlanta. Lays off ball 1.
Those kind of emotions are so important. There's such a fine line between somebody who can play in the big leagues, somebody that can succeed in the big leagues, and somebody that can be a star. And sometimes that edge is that daily motivation and love of the game.
On a 1-2 pitch, Perdomo misses away. 2-2. Matt Kemp has looked really good the last few days. .423 with 3 home runs in his last 8 games. After a stretch during the road trip where he didn't look very good. That's another base hit for Matt Kemp. Bellinger was off with a crack of the bat. He'll hold and retreat to third. At the corners, nobody out.
The third base coach has timing. Matt Kemp has timing. Matt's is locked in, and Chris Woodward's is locked in also. This ball's hit so hard to left field that when it arrives in left field, Cody Bellinger has not reached third base, so Chris Woodward is holding him. Stop sign goes up, and then the bobble happens. But that was the right call to stop him. Third base is a landmark for third base coaches. They judge where the runner is compared to the bag, where the ball is compared to the fielder. If the fielder has got the ball before the runner gets to third, usually they're stopping him.
Good chance here for Peterson with the Dodgers up 4-2. Third inning. Misses badly with ball 1. I'd like to see statistics on third base coaches. I'm surprised that they don't have that anywhere. Or maybe they do, but
they will tomorrow now.
They'll start keeping them tomorrow.
We'll start calculating going back. It'll be easy to recalibrate and calculate all the things you need to do.
Peterson tries to lay off that bat foot breaking ball, but can't. It's 1-1.
I guess you'd have to look at almost every play where a runner started at least first.
Yeah. And then just success rates of sending them. I guess how would you judge the bad stop signs, though? You know, where they probably would have scored.
With all the StatCast stuff now, you probably can. You got the speed of the runner. You got probably the anticipated angle he's going to cut the base with by how he's approaching third or approaching second. That'd be an interesting study.
The one hard thing to calculate, though, would be the context. Like on that last play, nobody out. He's not going to send Bellinger.
Right.
A 2-1. A swing and a miss. 2-2. No stat is perfect.
No, it starts to get you in the vicinity of a good decision.
2-2. Peterson, it's a high fly ball towards the right field corner. Perela sprints over, still going, and it's just foul.
Chalk didn't hit that one very well, but he has hit in bad luck for a while, and that looked like one that he could hit poorly and maybe catch a break. This is one of those at bats that can mess with your psyche if you don't get something positive out of it. Yeah, you want to get a hit and drive in more than one run, but just driving in one right here is the key for him. Get something positive for the team and for yourself.
Does have a home run against Perdomo in his career. Making the start tonight. Batting with men at the corners and nobody out in the third. Here's another 2-2. Base hit to right for Peterson. In to score is Bellinger. Perela's throw to third, cut off by Galvis, and the Dodgers lead at 5-2. Jock Peterson drives home a run on a 2-strike pitch.
All 3 hits this inning are with 2 strikes. The first 2 were on 2-strike fastballs. This one on a changeup or a little breaking ball. Jock stays with it just like he did the fly ball down the line that was just foul, but this one he hits hard right in the hole.
And it brings up Chase Utley. Time now for the Land Rover Performance Spotlight. Hit for the 200th time in his career last night. Get the ball, he says. Need that for the trophy case. Tim Hudson hit him more than anybody. Johnny Cueto among active pitchers is the leader, having plunked him 4 times. When he asked for the ball, Bob Guerin, the bench coach, kind of looked around and said, what is it he's asking for? What is he pointing at? And then figured out that Utley wanted the ball. And then he's wondering, well, why? Why does he want that ball? And Guerin overheard somebody saying, well, that's the 200th time he's been hit. And Dave Roberts looks at Bob and says, what was that? And Bob said, somebody said he just got hit for the 200th time. That can't be right. There's no way he got hit 200 times. And Dave said, well, maybe it was 100. Maybe you heard it wrong. No, it's 200. Alana?
Chase Utley earlier today, and I said, you know, you're not the type of guy that celebrates anything that you do. I said, why did you want the ball so badly? He's like, well, I really didn't even know about it until a couple of weeks ago when Andy McCullough, of course, with the LA Times, wrote the article about Chase coming up on the 200 hit by pitch. He said, my dad actually had sent me a text and was like, you better get that ball.
Slices a liner to left center. That'll split the gap and make its way to the wall. It will score 2. Chase Utley stops at second with a double, and the Dodgers pouring it on Perdomo tonight.
Get hit, get a hit. This is a 2-bagger. Nobody's made it out this inning, and nobody wants to. Chase Utley just splits the gap there in left center.
Could have he turned it into a triple? Maybe. but why at this point with nobody out in the inning? Content stopping at second. And bringing up Max Muncy. 7-2 Dodgers in the third. Muncy hits an opposite field fly ball way back to left field. He's left the building for the first time as a Dodger. Max Muncy with a 2-run shot. Three plate appearances as a Dodger for him. Singled and scored, walked and scored, homered. And he's declared himself ready for Max Scherzer on Friday night.
I think he has. If he gets a double and a triple, he'll hit for the cycle as a Dodger in the next 2 at bats with a walk.
Five in the bank, still nobody out in the third. Maeda takes the ball, 2-2.
I just hope Perdomo doesn't flash back to his Colorado game. Threw the ball behind Arenado.
Maeda chases for the first out. And Muncy knew that this baby was gone.
This is his 6th big league career home run, his first in a Dodger uniform. And boy, he knew it right away. I mean, it was a tough call from up here. Just looked like a solid fly ball to left field. Maybe the warning track, maybe the wall, but no, about 6 rows up.
Very efficient bat flip to the ground. Chris Taylor fouls off the first Perdomo pitch, strike 1. Look at this flip form. This is nice. Huh?
Subtle.
Yeah. Kind of a hybrid drop flip.
Classy.
Classic. Chris fouls that one off his foot.
These hurt. Take a hammer and hit your knee. You'll know what it feels like.
I don't think I'm going to do that.
Okay.
It's like Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights trying to prove that he can't feel his legs. Takes the knife while he's in the hospital. Watch. Jams it in his thigh. Realizes he can feel his leg. Not going to do that. Back-to-back Ks after the 5 runs to start the inning. 2 out. What's the Adam Sandler movie with
the golf one?
No, where he's got the dead foot and he hammers the pick from the fireplace in his foot. Mr. Deeds, yeah.
Oh boy.
Strike 1 on Corey Seager. Corey's reached both times tonight. Walked and scored in the first and singled home a run in the second. That's another base hit. Corey Seager locking in. 3 innings, aboard 3 times, and they've batted around against Perdomo.
Little different rollover to the right side for Corey Seager there. That was about a 2-hopper. When he wasn't going good, he was hitting 4 and 5 hoppers over there, and he was out in front and just off the end of the bat. He is still in time and in rhythm right now.
Well, runner at first with 2 out, and Grandal takes a strike. Do your fireworks off in the distance?
I sure do.
Yeah. Oh, inside that building.
Don't try that.
Somebody ought to call the fire department. That ain't safe. Any idea what the occasion is?
I have no idea.
Rick Kujewski? He got nothing. Perdomo's 1-1. That tails almost to the inside corner, but it's taken for a ball, 2-1. Fly to center field, playable for Cordero. Maybe it's just a really late echo of all the loud contact in this inning. 5 runs, including Max Muncy's 3-run or 2-run home run. His first as a Dodger, and after 3, 9-2. Three innings against Luis Perdomo, and we welcome you back inside. Joe Davis and Orel Hershiser, and they sure have had his number over his 3 years in the majors, haven't they?
Yeah, they are really, they're picking on him right now because he doesn't have anything to get him out. The breaking ball's not there, the changeup's not there, the fastball is up, staying on the barrel, and they're not missing it. It's been really fun to watch.
Fireworks are still going. We still have no idea what the occasion is.
Dodger fans down from LA just celebrating all the runs.
Lighting off fireworks in the street. Strike one on Franchy Cordero.
Alligators in the sewers.
It's getting weird. Cordero struck out his first time. Here he takes a ball. It's 1-1. You know, we were talking earlier about some of those StatCast defensive numbers. Franchy Cordero was in the majors for a month last year, but in his 1 month, by some of those StatCast categories, was one of the very best defenders in baseball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So as far as the difference between the expected catch probability and the actual catch probability, he's number 1. How much he improved it from what was expected to what actually happened, or expected catch percentage to actual catch percentage. And the number 1 difference.
If the number 1 guy can't catch it, who can? You know the difference if he's got the smallest difference? Well, I guess it's like fielding percentage. You know, if you're supposed to catch every ground ball, but the best fielder is a, you know, 997.
Well, the actual Yeah. But the expectation with the StatCast numbers isn't that you're going to catch 100% of them. Some balls you're not going to catch. I had to strike some out with a fastball. So, for example, in Cordero's case, the expected catch percentage was 84%. So out of all the balls hit to him, he's expected to catch 84% of them when you put them all together. He actually caught 95% of them.
Oh, wow.
So that's
his
kind of
differential is above.
Right. And that was the #1 differential of any fielder in baseball last year. One away for Eric Hosmer.
And that's Baseball Savant, that site?
That's where I got that from.
I'm going to be looking at that one.
Fire up the modem, and big swing and a miss, 0-2. Hosmer with a ground out his first time is 1 for his last 18 now. Smashes a base hit up the middle.
Really nice piece of hitting from Hosmer right there. Kenta going up to the high fastball. Hosmer kind of like Cody Bellinger, who he's standing next to over there at first base. Shortens up a little bit, keeps the hands on top of the high fastball, drives it up the middle. Cody drove his to left field.
Christian Villanueva looks at a fastball down and away, ball 1. Native of Mexico. Playing in his home country when these teams get together next, down in Monterrey, Mexico. Takes a curve for a strike, and it's 1-1. He's from Guadalajara. 26 years old, first opening day roster for him this year after 8 years in the minors with a few different organizations. Digs that one off of the dirt and rolls it foul. Oh, and did he have his first major league experience last year? But he had his first child. Christian Villanueva Jr., born just after opening day a year ago. Souvenir.
Doesn't matter how old you are or how many times you've been to the ballpark, you get a ball, everybody gets excited and puts a smile on everybody's face. Interested to see and feel what a big league ball is actually like.
Comes a 1-2. It's in the dirt. Good stop, Grandal. Looked like he maybe had a signature on the bill of that cap. Doesn't look like it?
Yeah. Blue Sharpie?
I think it's black.
Is it?
I think the hat is blue.
Pretty full day to get a foul ball and an autograph.
Ida coming up in with a fastball. Wanted to at least, and wound up missing low and away to make it full. And that is something he's not had tonight. That is fastball command. Grand finale. It's kind of weird because we can't see him here from where we're sitting. We also can't hear ourselves think. Borderline walk. 2 on with 1 out. Here's Galvis. Ball one. Fly to center field. Chris Taylor. No big deal for him. 2 out. Hosmer will take third. Streaks were made to be broken. Make history. Win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today. Joe Davis, Orel Hershiser, and Alana Rizzo. Quick 3-game series here in San Diego. The Dodgers appear to be well on their way to sweeping with a 9-2 lead here in the third. Off day tomorrow. Then they open a 3-game series with the Nationals on Friday at Dodger Stadium. Oh, and 1.
It has been a battle for Kent out there. I know he's leading 9-2, but 56 pitches here, 2 outs in the third. Really hasn't been able to settle into any foundational pitch.
Off the end of the bat, but struck well towards the corner. It will sink in and rattle around the corner. 2 runs are in to score on a double from Oswahe. The Padres chip away 9-4.
Because the fastball command is not real good, the slider has kind of been up. He's been using more curveballs. Usually use it to steal a strike. We've said that. It's not really a finished pitch, and that one kind of hung up there. Swahe did a nice job staying with it, driving it to the opposite field.
5th hit of the night for San Diego. Swahe's at second, and here's Corey Spangenberg. Oh, and 1. That's bounced in a tough spot. A charging Seager has no play.
Spangenberg from the left side gets out of the box. It was a changeup. Spun his wheels a little bit getting out of there, but Corey Seager with the exchange and his speed says there's no way.
So the line keeps moving with 2 out. And the 8-hitter Austin Hedges comes up. Bases loaded walk his first time. Strike 1. Hedges has continued to grind away on that swing and try to tweak it mechanically. Big focus this offseason, and he stayed here in San Diego to work on it. The big focus was to limit his head movement. Let the ball travel a little bit deeper. And then he changed his finish. He used to have a one-handed follow through. Now keeps both hands on the bat. But so far still waiting for those changes to result much as far as improvements go. 214 last year, averages at 137 this year. Maeda's 0-2. Struck him out with a fastball, and the inning is over. But the Padres get 2 back after 3 innings in San Diego. Bunch going on here. 9-4. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Jack in the Box. Try the new Cholula Buttery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family, only at Jack in the Box. On this date, 1938, Red Barber, Hall of Fame announcer, started his run as Dodgers announcer. Walter Lanier, Red Barber. Born in Mississippi, went to Florida. That's where the Brooklyn GM Larry McPhail had first heard him on a student radio station reading a paper. Tyler Webb checks into a game here, 9-4 as we open the 4th inning. And McPhail had first hired Red Barber in Cincinnati when he was running the Reds. Southern accent of his, being a Mississippi guy, that played a little better in Cincinnati than it did at first in Brooklyn. Well, it took some time for the locals in Brooklyn to embrace him. Bellinger to start this 4th. He takes a strike. So entering that 1938 season where Barber debuted with the Dodgers, McPhail, the GM, he broke an agreement that was in place with the other New York teams, the Giants and the Yankees, against having radio broadcasts, because the thought was that if you could get the games on the radio, then why would you go to the game and buy a ticket? But McPhail had proven that that's a wrong theory when he was in Cincinnati, had good success there, didn't hurt attendance. Bellinger hits it foul, still 0-2. Soon after, the other teams followed, and the Mike man in New York became as big a part as anybody of the baseball culture there. So that was April 18th, 1938. Red Barber made his Dodger debut. You fast forward 12 years on the same date, Vin Scully made his own Dodger debut. Bellinger rolls it along first. Hosmer will flip it to Webb, who just barely wins the race to the bat. Look at the young Vin Scully right there. A couple of redheads. Vin debuted in Philadelphia, April 18, 1950. He was still living with his parents at that point in New Jersey, so he left his parents' house, hopped on the train, took it to North Philly Station, hopped in a cab, went down to Shibe Park, and called a game pitched by Don Newcomb. against Robin Roberts of the Phillies. Red Barber still handled most of the innings, but Vin got to call the 3rd and the 7th. Matt Kemp takes high, ball 1. Red Barber introduced Vin Scully as a young fella I hope you're going to like. And Vin took the microphone and says the one thing that he remembered right away is how terrified he was. First batter that he called, Roy Campanella, singling off Robin Roberts. On a 2-0, Kemp takes ball 3. Strike 1.
You said they both debuted on the same day, but 12 years apart. On April 18th.
Yep.
How about that? Jackie Robinson debuted on April 18th in the minor leagues for Montreal. He only had a home run and 3 singles on his way to winning the league batting championship that year. 1946.
Kept down on strikes. Webb battles back to get him.
I guess it's just because of the rhythm of baseball. It's like near the beginning of the season, and there's a chance that 3 super famous and unbelievable people would debut all in the same day in different jobs. But wow.
Back when the season started a little bit later. Geez, quite a bit later. Season's been going for 3 weeks now.
Yeah, this one got moved up.
Right. Jock Peterson with 2 out. Looks at a breaking ball, bottom of the zone for a strike. So that was 1946 that Jackie made his Dodge organization debut, and then 1947 called up to the majors. Peterson shoots a bouncer to the hole at short. That's when Galvis is playing, and he lobs it across to get him and complete the first 1-2-3 inning of the night.
Dodgers placing left-hander Rich Hill on the 10-day disabled list today. Rich battled with blisters last year, but that's not what placed him on the DL this time.
Just cracked fingernail, so it's just something that to prevent further, kind of cracking of the nail, give it a few extra days.
And guys, Rich has had recurring issues with that left hand. He was placed on the disabled list last April 7th through the 16th, made his start on the 16th, and then was placed right back on it until May 16th. So hopefully not nearly as big of an issue as the blisters he dealt with last year.
Okay, and the distinguishing thing, you know, with the blisters, it was off with a curveball. It was really digging in, trying to spin it. And this is just kind of a freak thing on a fastball. Tyler Webb hitting for himself here, and he's ahead of Maeda 2-1. So we'll see what the Dodgers wind up doing as far as his spot on Friday. Opposite Max Scherzer. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, that'd be a tough place to call a kid up from AAA and have him start, huh? Against the reigning Cy Young Award winner.
That would be really hard.
Webb strikes out, 1 away. We go back down to Alana.
That Clayton Kershaw gets moved up to make that start on Friday. They were all going to get an extra day of rest, but now that Rich Hill cannot make the start, it could feasibly be Clayton Kershaw. It could also be, as you mentioned, Joe, bringing somebody up from the AAA level, which would be a difficult task for that young man to do, or it could be a bullpen game. Dave Roberts wasn't willing to say exactly what they're going to do as of yet.
So have the off day to decide that as well. As Perella stands in a 9-4 game in the 4th. Strike 1.
I could see somebody like Ross Stripling starting that game.
And kind of by committee after.
Sometimes those are really well pitched games when you can go matchup throughout the whole 9 innings. You probably look for whoever it is that starts to go at least 3 if you're going to go a bullpen game.
Two and 1.
Kenta is searching and groping for some rhythm and some consistency. He's very fortunate the Dodgers have gotten him 9 runs, because this is not his typical game again.
Perella rolls it softly to Chase Utley. 0 for 12 in this series for the major league hit leader coming in. Two out for Franchy Cordero.
Kenta looking for something to get left-handed hitters out. They have really dominated him this year. Coming into today, 389 against them if you're a left-handed hitter. And 5 of the 6 hits from the Padres tonight have been from lefties.
Maeda quickly gets ahead of him, 0-2. Padres brought 7 men to the plate in the 2nd and in the 3rd. Maeda trying to do what he did in the 1st, though, here, and that is work a 1-2-3 inning. 0-2. He's got him swinging, pulling the string. Cordero struck out all 3 times, and a 12-pitch 4th for Maeda. Getting back on track with a 9-4 lead in San Diego. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Toyota's Thrill to Drive sales event is going on now. Check out amazing deals on a stylish new Corolla. An immaculate inning is when a pitcher strikes out all 3 hitters on 9 pitches. There's only been 4 guys in Major League history that have done it more than once. It's only been 1 that's done it 3 times. Sandy Koufax, for the first time, did it on this date in 1964 against Cincinnati. Leo Cardenas, Johnny Edwards, Jim Maloney down on strikeouts on 9 pitches total. Kike Hernandez pinch hitting to open this 5th, and he takes outside ball 1. There have been 5 Dodgers that have done it, so Koufax the 3 times. Pat Reagan in 1914. He was the 3rd in Major League history to do it. Dazzy Vance, 1924. Todd Worrell in 1995. And then last year, Kenley Jansen. Hernandez pinch hitting for Utley with the left-handed pitcher on the mound now. Punches a bouncing ball to the right side. Hosmer feeding Webb for the first out. Brings up Max Muncy, and we take a look at our Coors Light refreshing finish at his last trip up there when he went opposite field for his first home run as a Dodger.
Same swing we saw in spring training. Compact, short to the ball, and powerful. All smiles even before he got to the dugout.
I think there's a little smile cracking in the bat flip. He knew that thing was gone right away. Takes outside ball 1. That was the 6th home run of his Major League career. 3 in 2015, 2 in 16. Both those seasons with Oakland. He spent last year in the Dodger organization in Oklahoma City. Hit above 300, had 12 home runs there. He's always had a really good approach at the plate. A lot of walks. Takes a strike, 2-1.
Makes those phone calls home a lot of fun when, hey, how's the new organization? Hey, you got called up to the big leagues. Oh, so you got a hit in your first at bat.
Goes the other way again. Spangenberg back again at the wall, makes the catch. Oh, he just barely misses, going opposite field for the 2nd time in as many at-bats over the last couple innings. Instead, he's out number 2.
Just under this one a little bit. Just a hair. A little bit of slicing action on the ball instead of complete backspin.
Corey Seager picking his brain about Webb. Maeda looks at a strike. That's when you know you're swinging it well, when Corey Seager's picking your brain.
That's the great thing about spring training, is they're picking up where they left off because of the whole roster together on the big league side. And one of the main tools and great things about spring training is building those relationships so that when the team does come together, different parts from other areas, AA, AAA, we're already on the same page, know each other.
Maeda rolls it to Galvis at short. And Webb has retired all 6 that he's faced. Halfway home in San Diego, Dodgers in front 9-4.
3, including the 11-game bobblehead plan featuring the Justin Turner walk-off home run bobblehead presented by State Farm. Mini plan pricing starts at $24. Visit Dodgers.com/mini plans.
We've been all looking at our phones and the internet and all calendars we can find to see what the fireworks are for. Nobody can find anything.
Can't find a thing. Fireworks near me didn't work. Fireworks news in San Diego, nothing.
Somebody went rogue.
Oh no. It's a long time to go rogue.
Yeah, it was quite a display. Maybe they hid the fireworks under the Pantone 294 flag.
Oh.
It's a big enough flag to hide the size show that we just had. 9-4 game to the bottom of the 5th. Kenta Maeda seemed to settle back in with a 1-2-3-4.
Place is rocking here. They're having fun, even though the Padres are down 9-4. There's a lot of Dodger fans here, a lot of noise and excitement here in the ballpark. We finally got kind of a warm one.
Yeah, relative to the first two. You're right.
Take down the wind a little bit, throw up the temperature about 5 degrees.
That said, it'll be good to get back to Los Angeles. Team will come home tonight, spend the off day in their own beds tomorrow, and open up that series at Dodger Stadium Friday night. 3-4-5 for San Diego in this 5th inning with Eric Hosmer to lead it off. Maeda misses with his first one. Speaking of kind of jumping in here, the loud music, the party going on. You ever hear the story about Eric Hosmer in downtown Kansas City after they won their first postseason series in a couple decades? This was in 2014. They had just beaten the Angels in the American League Division Series. First postseason win, 29 years. And Hosmer tweeted an invite, open invite, to any Royals fans that wanted to join him at a bar in downtown Kansas City.
Oh my gosh.
Hordes of them showed up,
yeah.
as you can imagine. And falls off the table 1 and 2, and he paid for an hour of everybody's drinks.
Oh my gosh. That's
$15,000. $15,000 bill, yeah.
Wow. Sure that made him a hero in Kansas City.
Sure did. Maeda gets a fastball by him at 94. Nice life to it for the first out of the 5th.
A little ego on that fastball. Hosmer's last at bat. Hosmer hit a fastball and got on top of it. Hit it up the middle for a base hit. Kenta said, oh, okay, not this time.
One out for Villanueva, who's reached in 7 of his 11 plate appearances against the Dodgers this week. Cuts and misses at a slider, strike 1. San Diego scored 10 runs in the series. Villanueva has been the man that scored half of them, and he's driven in 2 more. An 0-1 pitch. Cuts and misses on a heater, strike 2.
Kenta's shown a little bit more arm speed this inning. Maybe starting to feel his mechanics come together. Very aggressive with the fastball. It's not that it's been well located, but he is cutting it loose at 93. And that last breaking ball there used the fastball arm speed to spin it. Made it a lot sharper.
That's the 0-2 fly. Oh, it gets Villanueva on the left hand.
Unintentional. Kenta was going fastball away, and it took him a long time to even get to that sign. They went through about 4 or 5 signs before he got back to a fastball low and away, and the target was there. He just overthrew it. I said he's feeling a little froggy this inning, and this one he just cut it loose and missed his location completely. Reminds you a little bit of Justin Turner.
And man, you sure hope that he's okay. Guy grinded away in the minors for 8 seasons before getting his first big league call up last year. Off to such a good start this year. 2 years ago, he'd missed the whole season with a broken leg that he suffered just doing routine ground balls in spring training. Came back from that to get his first big league chance. And you'd hate to see him finally getting it going and have it wiped away by a hand injury. For now, he'll stay in. Freddie Galvis comes up with one away.
Maeda's got to shake it off. He knows he didn't do that on purpose, but he's got to wash that away and stay as aggressive as he was before he hit him.
He's been a whole lot better out of the windup tonight. Kenta Maeda has 6 of his 7 strikeouts have come out of the windup. When he goes to the stretch, that's when he's issued both of his walks. And the Padres are hitting .500 against him tonight when he's from the stretch. Here comes his 1-1. Galvis sends it foul, 1-2.
Mentioned that off day tomorrow. That would give Dave Robertson, Rick Honeycutt a little bit more liberal use of the bullpen.
Gets him here with a changeup.
This had outstanding action on it. Looks like a fastball away and then just dove down there.
It's his 8th K, 2 away. Carlos Asuaje came into the game 4 for his last 35. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Dodgers up 9-4 with 3 in the first, 1 in the second, and 5 in the third. Starts him with a slider for a strike. Challenged him there, and it's 0-2. Another changeup for a strikeout. Winds up getting 3 Ks in the inning around the hit batsman. He's got 9 total and leads 9-4. this game. Then Tyler Webb came on and has retired all 6 that he's faced. 9-4 to the 6th inning, and the top of the order coming up. Did you happen to see what Patrick Corbin did last night for Arizona against San Francisco?
Wasn't he really good for about 8?
Yeah, had a no-hitter with 2 out in the 8th inning that he lost on a Brandon Belt base hit. The D-backs won that game 1-0. Corbin went the distance. Complete game shutout.
That's the way he pitched against the Dodgers.
The check swing tapper along third, picked up foul by Villanueva. Good to see him staying in the game after getting hit on the hand. Yeah, 8 Ks, complete game shutout. He's now 3-0 with a 1.65. So that's the good news for Arizona. The bad news is that today they got word that Taijuan Walker will have to have Tommy John surgery.
Well, we suspected there might be something going on with the elbow because of the forearm tightness that they were reporting, and not a whole lot of major things that can go on with forearm tightness other than it is straining to protect something that's going on in the elbow.
Giants returning the favors so far tonight. 2-0 San Francisco in the 8th inning. Chris Stratton, 7 shutout innings thus far. No balls, 2 strikes. That's back-to-back dominant outings from Chris Stratton. Last time he pitched was here last Thursday night, and he fired 7 shutout innings in that game too. That's down the line, foul.
Chris Taylor, the only Dodger regular that doesn't have a hit tonight. Kenta Maeda doesn't have one, and at the top of the order, Mr. Taylor doesn't have one.
Oh-2. Got him with a high fastball. And a 9-4 game in the 6th. Here comes Seager. It's time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. 3 plate appearances in the first 3 innings. He walked and he singled twice.
A couple of knocks, and the one to left, the one to right. Beginning of this series, he was hitting 200. He's raised his average 35 points coming into this at bat, starting to heat up.
And Seager hammers the ball to right center field. Pereira watches it sail over his head and bounce into the seats for his 3rd hit of the night. And he's got himself a souvenir on a Corey Seager ground rule double. Awesome. Gave it to the kid. Good. Got his own victory lap and handed it off.
Corey Seager, a career 300 hitter, is starting to look like himself here in San Diego. That is good news for him and for all the Dodgers. Grab it. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. Yes. And now do the right thing. Do the. Yeah, there you go. Look at her face. What is it with pushing out your lips like you're kissing somebody when you're getting a picture taken?
I don't know. I don't do that.
Okay.
And ball, no strikes on Grandal, hitting right-handed for the first time tonight. Cuts through it, 1-1. It was as if it kind of hit the guy. Mid-celebration trot there. Oh gosh, what have I done?
Yeah.
Exactly. There was a kid that I just ripped that from, wasn't there?
Reverse, reverse.
Two and one. Hey, so in Puerto Rico, the Indians and Twins are playing again tonight. Special series down there. Through 13 innings, it was 0-0. Edwin Encarnacion homered for the Indians in the top of the 14th to put them up 1-0 on the verge of winning it. Then Miguel Sano hit a home run of his own in the bottom of the 14th to tie it at 1 and send it to the 15th. They're now tied at 1 in the 16th inning. How cool for the people getting to watch that game in Puerto Rico. Not every day they get a major league game down there, and getting 2 of them in one day. Ball 4 on Grandal. Second time he's reached tonight. They're first and second with 1 away for Bellinger.
Giants hang on, the Dodgers hang on. Giants are ahead of the D-backs. Dodgers could pick up a game in the standings. I know they don't look at the standings this time of year, but it's kind of nice.
April 18th scoreboard watching.
Exactly. If you're not in first, I think you're watching.
I thought you were going to do a Ricky Bobby line for us. If you ain't first, you're last. Strike 1 on Bellinger.
Unless you're the wild card.
Yes. One ball, one strike. Bellinger a single and a double tonight. Scored after both. Dodgers 7 for 10 with men in scoring position in this game.
It is a new trend for them.
Seager at second, Grandal at first, and a 2-1 from Webb is low on Bellinger for ball 3.
Good feeling, and the way the Dodgers are playing now, you got to turn back the clock to that Kershaw game against Arizona when things were really starting to spiral out of control. That 7-2 win before they came here to San Diego.
Trying to complete the series sweep. Looking for a 4th straight win overall. Momentum going into a tough series over the weekend with Washington. Bellinger wants that swing back. He's the second out.
He's shaking his head because he got in between. He got a hit on a high fastball with an approach like that, but that one was not over the plate that he had enough room to kind of get the barrel on it.
With 2 out, it's Kemp. Fouls off the first pitch that he sees. He's homered 9 times in this ballpark as a Dodger. First one, we told the story last night, came as a rookie. Pinch hit over the bushes in front of the batter's eye in center. And he put one in the same exact spot during batting practice today. Cuts through this one and misses 0-2. That one was impressive, the BP home run to center, but more impressive, he hit it to the top of that second deck there in front of the scoreboard. And he does it basically with a flip of the wrist. So effortless looking.
He's got his lever system really timed up perfectly right now.
Pops this one. Carlos Suaje has it tracked, and the inning is over. Dodgers strand a couple, but lead by a bunch as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by SoCal Gas. For energy efficient rebates on qualifying appliances, go to SoCalGas.com/rebates. On this date in 1958, the very first game at the Coliseum. First game in Los Angeles as the Dodgers. 4 seasons there before they moved into Dodger Stadium. What a unique yard for baseball. Put that big screen up down the left field line. Got Maeda back to the mound. Corey Spangenberg to lead off this 6th inning. He takes a strike. Also, by the mid-50s in Brooklyn, attendance was way down at Ebbets Field, so they had started to look around. So O'Malley, the owner, was trying to get a new park built in Brooklyn. He didn't want to leave New York. And the original plans called for this big state-of-the-art stadium with a retractable roof. We're talking about that in the 1950s. Giant attached garage. Parking was an issue in Brooklyn, so they were looking at doing that. It's in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Heated seats come in handy this time of year, as we're seeing out on the East Coast. The New York Times headline after those first plans were released in Brooklyn: new park to have hot dogs and hot seats. So there was a little bit of momentum towards getting a park built there in Brooklyn. He chases here. Spangenberg the first out of the inning on Maeda's 10th K of the night. Now, to show how serious O'Malley was about moving the team, because some people thought that he was balking to try and get more money from the local government, more support for him. He arranged for the Dodgers to play 8 games in Jersey City at a place called Roosevelt Stadium, which used to be a minor league stadium, the Giants organization, but had been converted to a stock car racing track. It was nothing close to a baseball park anymore. A strike on Austin Hedges. O'Malley didn't really care about the condition, though. He just cared that the message was clear that he wasn't afraid to take the team out of there. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. O'Malley had even said that he was willing to pay for a new park himself, as long as the city would give him the space to build it. Hedges yanks one down the line. That is into the seats. Still no balls, 2 strikes. So the city offered up some land, but the only spot that they offered him land to build was in Queens. And if he couldn't stay in Brooklyn, he didn't really want to stay in New York. So he started to look elsewhere. Meanwhile, Los Angeles was trying to find a team. Comes Maeda with an 0-2, and Hedges just barely gets a piece to stay alive. First team they went after was the Washington Senators, trying to get them to relocate to Los Angeles. But O'Malley got a message delivered to an LA County supervisor that was spearheading the effort to woo the Senators. He said, hey, don't make any decisions yet. We want to talk to you. So the Dodgers were headed to Japan on a winter tour, and O'Malley decided to make a stop in LA. Hedges hits it foul, still no balls and 2 strikes. And by the end of that meeting, they had a handshake deal in place. Still a bunch of work had to be done to get it all figured out. He gave an ultimatum to the city of New York. You got a few months to get me a spot in Brooklyn or it ain't happening. I'm taking the team out of here. And of course, you know the end of the story, he did. That's up the middle, a base hit for Hedges. That first decade in Los Angeles, the Dodgers averaged almost 1 million more fans per year than in the final years in Brooklyn. Wow. So he was justified.
Justified and successful. And it's one of the pieces of fabric of the Los Angeles area. The Los Angeles Dodgers. Thank you, Mr. O'Malley, for bringing them.
Matt Caesar pinch hitting with 1 away in the 6th. First pitch breaking ball is up. It's 1-0. They were also kind of behind the scenes scouting other locations to play if the Coliseum whole thing fell through, or the Chavez Ravine plan that they eventually put into action, built Dodger Stadium. If that didn't happen, there's a story. A couple of the guys that were working for the Dodgers were out looking at the Rose Bowl, but it wasn't news yet that the Dodgers were moving to Los Angeles. They didn't want the word to get out. And so one of the scouts tells the other guy, remember, don't tell anybody who we are, what we're doing here at the Rose Bowl. That's a base hit to right. Maeda getting close to the end of the line. At 102 pitches, 2 on, 1 out. So just somebody asks what you're doing here, tell them we're scouting it for a concert or something like that. So they get to the Rose Bowl, they go inside, unroll a tape measure and start measuring the possible dimensions. Okay, that's fine. You could be measuring for a stage for the concert. Well, one of them shouts across to the other end of the tape measure, all right, it'd be about 352 from home plate right here. And a bunch of curious stadium workers are looking around saying, what do you mean home plate? They're at the Rose Bowl.
Exactly.
And yeah, word got out partially through that there could be something up with the Dodgers moving west. Dave Robertson, Rick Honeycutt starting to look ahead. Padres trying to chip away at this 9-4 deficit, which at one point was 9-2. Top of the order now. One and oh.
Dave Roberts trying to squeeze one more hitter out of Kenta. Left-hander Libator in the bullpen would probably be in after this batter. Glad to get that one back in your glove if you're pitching. It was a hanging breaking ball just laying right there. It would not be a good pitch to have hit to end your night. Nine to 4 lead in the bottom of the 6th in the Coliseum would not be a comfortable lead with that short left field porch.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know what it would have been in the Rose Bowl, but I'm kind of glad we're here in San Diego right now.
So we'll never know. Spite is 1-1. Lays off. 2 balls and a strike.
Kenta defaulting to that slider, which is the only pitch in his arsenal that has not given up a hit. Backs against the wall near the end of the outing. Going to go with something you're very confident in.
Perella hits a high fly ball to left center field. Jock Peterson makes the call and the catch. 2 away. Here comes Dave Roberts, going to go to the lefty with back-to-back left-handed hitters Cordero and Hosmer coming up. He'll do it, it appears, with a double switch. Yasiel Puig coming into the game. Dodgers up 9-4, trying to keep it right here as Adam Liberatore gets set for his season debut. To Maeda, more than he threw at any start last year. Struck out 10 tonight.
Matches a season high. He's been able to strike out a lot of guys here in 2018, but the 8 hits a season high also. And you talked about that pitch count. The pitch that he really depended on tonight was the slider. At the end of the outing, boy, that changeup was amazing, and I think you'll see more of that here this year.
In comes Adam Liberatore for his first appearance of the season for the Dodgers. He pitched in 5 games in AAA Oklahoma City. Had a good spring. Wasn't quite able to crack the opening day roster, but you figured it'd be a matter of time before he was up, and here he is. On for a pair of lefties in the order here. Cordero and Hosmer back to back. He almost hits Cordero with his first pitch. Hoping that it's Cordero here for the final out. Hosmer to open the 7th. One and one. Liberatore, 30 years old. Trying to bounce back from an injury-ravaged season last year. Just 4 games. DL time with a groin strain. Most of the year on the DL with an elbow strain. That one gets away from him, and it's 2-1. This is after 2016 when For a good chunk of the season, he was one of the most dominant relievers in baseball.
Big time strike thrower, come in out of the pen, just pour it in the zone with dominant stuff. Bulldog mentality where he just stares you down and comes at you.
Nice pitch there, 2-2.
Good adjustment, maybe a little adrenaline. First time back in the big leagues for a while. Has been a little bit overthrowing, leaving the ball in the inner half, almost hitting Cordero, but that one well located.
Two on, two out. And a 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Adam Liberator comes on and helps Maeda's final line, striking out the first batter that he faces in 2018. Dodgers tonight with an offensive outburst in the early innings. All 9 of those runs, 2 of them on a Max Muncy homer. Joe Davis, Orel Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, and now Kaz Makita for the 3rd time in as many games in this series. Peterson, Hernandez, Muncy due up. Delivers a strike. If you've not seen either of the first 2 appearances from Makita, you're in for something unique here. Not sure there's anybody like him right now. Look at that thing. Look at that changeup.
3rd day in a row. It's not going to take much off his fastball.
No.
He is out there changing speeds.
And then the fastball looks like it's 95 after he throws a slow motion changeup.
He'll probably top out at about 81. Average fastball around 79. He'd go down to what, 59, 55?
Yeah. That's off of the knob of the bat. Peterson gives up on it, and Makita throws him out.
That is some of the worst luck in the world that Jock has been hitting with. This takes the cake. It's like exactly off the knob. Jock's not flinching, both hands still on the bat. The ball ends up in fair territory, and he's like, really?
Strike on Hernandez. Strike 2. 7 years as a pro in Japan for Makita. The velocity so low and the release point so low that a lot of his pitches don't even register when it comes to the speed gun, or you're looking at game cast on location or pitch type. Nothing shows up.
I wonder if it's not what's going on around the plate, but they can't pick up his release down.
That's what I said.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's what I thought. But I didn't know if it was because it was too slow. You think it's
said that
more
too.
the delivery?
It's both. Lock in Hershiser.
I listened to the whole thing.
NBA playoffs are long. We can watch those all summer.
I was listening to the whole thing, but I was trying to think in my head, you know, I think it's more the delivery.
Hernandez yanks one off the end of the bat into left for a base hit. Hustling out of the box, thought about 2 and holds with a 1-out single.
Well, you know it's an off-speed pitch, and pretty much know a lot of guys are going to be out in front. And fortunate enough to keep 2 hands on the bat with that last swing from that delivery.
Max Muncy retired for the first time in his first couple of days as a Dodger. His last time up, flied to the wall and left. That's where he homered to back in the 3rd.
His approach of going to the opposite field will serve him well against Makita and this velocity.
One and 2. Down the line and into the seats. Caesar gave it a look. Bounces back down out of the field. It's over in Puerto Rico in 16 innings. The Twins beat the Indians 2-1. Another 1-2 pitch to Max Muncy. And time is called. Padres bullpen quietly has been really good so far this year. In fact, one of the lowest averages against of any pen in baseball. Team's hitting around 180 against them. Once he takes low and away, the count evens up at 2-2. How much of that you think is just early season small sample size skewed, and how much do you think this pen will be a strength?
Well, the pen is going to get an awful lot of work if the rotation keeps up. So
Muncy drives a liner to the right. That is caught by twisting Pereira for the 2nd out.
their rotation, their starters have pitched some of the fewest innings, and their bullpen has pitched some of the most already, even though they've been very effective, and that's not going to be a very good equation. And I think it's just a small sample size right now. They do have some really good arms down there, and they've been locating the ball well, and the staff really turned it around this year by strike throwing their fastball inside to hitters. Started to open up a lot of things.
First trip up there for Puig tonight, and in a double switch last inning. And he takes a first pitch changeup that Hunter Wendelstedt says hit the bottom of the zone. Tough night for Hunter.
Yeah, that plate's on roller skates. It's been moving around for him.
You had his father, I'm assuming, quite a bit. Harry Wendelstedt.
Yep, did for sure. Harry was a wonderful umpire.
Hunter in his 19th season as a full-time Major League umpire. His dad did more than 30 years in the National League, 60s through the late 90s. He gets it fouled, and it's 1-2.
He was a gentleman and a good umpire. He worked very hard at it. There were times in my generation that umpires had a tendency to, if they got snapped at by a player in the midst of competition, they kind of chased them. Harry was never that kind of guy that would chase or bait a player and try and get him to argue to get him out of the game if he held a grudge. He didn't hold any grudges. Kept his cool in all situations. But ran the game. It's that fine line for the great umpires, that to run a game, to be respected, but not to lose your temper. Understand that the people came to see the players play.
Puig with a little number to second. Suaje will throw him out. Of course, it was Harry Wendelstedt that had the famous call to preserve Don Drysdale's scoreless streak in the Dick Dietz play, sticking that elbow in front of the plate back in 1968. Hosmer, Villanueva, Galvis against Adam Liberatore here in the bottom of the 7th inning in a 9-4 game. Hosmer 1 for 3. Looks at ball 1 low. 1 for 3 in the game, 2 for his last 20. Padres are in their 20th game of the year, and Hosmer's only driven in 4. Takes a strike, 1-1. Now, a lot of that is obviously contingent on circumstance. Who's on base in front of him? How many opportunities does he have? But look at the guys that have hit ahead of him. Jose Pereira leading the majors in hits. Freddie Galvis on base percentage above 400. It's not been for a lack of opportunities for Hosmer. 2-1.
He definitely gives them a presence in the middle of their lineup. And a leader and a very hard worker to be a living example for this young team on how to approach your business.
Sliders in there for a strike. 2-2. Full count. Hosmer entered the game tonight with an average of 174 with men on base. Hitting above 300 when the bases are empty, but 174 when somebody reaches.
Does that get to the psyche of contract? I need to get it done. Maybe expanding the strike zone. Feeling the pressure of, I need to be the guy on this team that drives in a lot of runs, but you got to get strikes to do it.
Especially when Will Myers is on the DL, another one of the big run producers. He's got a leadoff walk against Liberatore. We'll take a look at the calendar brought to you by Nissan. Off day tomorrow, then 6 in a row against the East, and a preview of a road trip coming up in a few weeks. Dodgers will return the favorite of these two teams in May. But first up at Dodger Stadium Friday night, Max Scherzer, reigning Cy Young Award winner, and Strasburg on Saturday. And we'll see how the Dodgers line up in those two, with Rich Hill getting placed on the disabled list earlier today. Chase Hadley, strike one. Nationals had beaten the Mets in back-to-back games to open that series in New York this week, but Mets winning today 11-5. So the Nationals will come into the series with the Dodgers at 9-10. Strike two. Supposed to get Adam Eaton back off of the disabled list for Friday, although Daniel Murphy still has not played for Washington. Not expected to this weekend. Headley hits it on the ground to third. Muncy from foul ground shows off a cannon. What a night Muncy's having in his first start as a Dodger.
Arco, top tier play. That was an easy choice. Gets himself some range and gets the feet under him, and he shows off the gun. It's like a bazooka shot. Ball barely left any height. Solid line drive across the diamond.
One on, one out. Here's Galvis. Strike one. Looking forward to watching Bryce Harper this weekend. One of the most fun players to watch in baseball. Off to a great start. 8 home runs to lead the National League.
You usually say, I hope we break his bat, but he had a home run on a broken bat, so I guess we'll see what happens.
Foul 1-2.
Yeah, that's a big series. You finish this game off here, sweep the Padres, then you got the 5-12 Marlins behind Washington. So you could really get on a long hot streak if you play well against Washington, win a couple, maybe. Who knows what else you can do? Then take on the Marlins.
He gets Galvis swinging for out number 2. You know, if they hold on here, Oral, and then you hypothetically went 2-3 over your next 5 games, they'd have the same exact record through 22 games that they had last year. despite the horrendous start this season. Trending right around where they were at this point last year when they went on to win 104 games. Runner at second, 2 out. The batter is Carlos Suaje. Takes a fastball, 1-0. Of course, after that slow start last year, they had a 56-11 stretch.
That will be hard to duplicate in any year.
Suaje to left. Jock Peterson near the sidewall. Leaps up and drops the ball. It is a foul ball. And Jock shows his frustration chucking that ball up into the third deck.
Take a look right here. Well, he had it. No fan interference. Just couldn't pull it out of the glove. They might actually take a look at it.
Boy, a rough 20 minutes or so for Jock, who loses an at-bat when he hits the ball off the knob of his bat. And then this, which would have been a great play had he made it, but thought that he had, only to see it squirt out. And they're going to take a look at it. Perhaps as much to support Jock's psychology at this point as anything.
One more look here. We see it get into the glove. You know, as he's landing, the ball comes out. He's never really like on 2 feet and stable, and like looks like his glove hits his thigh a little bit as he comes down and kind of jars it loose, almost like when you catch it and the ground jars it loose.
I feel like we're starting to talk the NFL catch rule here. Did he cross the goal line?
Yeah. You watch here, the glove comes down, it's going to hit his leg, and I think that's going to bring it loose right there. His wrist hits and it kind of flips the web of the glove, and no catch. I like your point about supporting Jock emotionally, though.
Can be a cruel, cruel game. Suaje sharply hit to Bellinger. He'll take it to the bag, and that's a scoreless inning and a third for Adam Liberatore in his season debut. Studio for a preview of Access Sportsnet Dodgers, presented by your Southern California Ford dealers.
All right, Joe, thanks. Another great offensive night for the Dodgers in San Diego. A key stat, 7 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Alana Rizzo will have reaction from the clubhouse. Nomar and Neds will break down Kenta Maeda's night as well. Coming up.
All right, John, we're playing Kesha's Timber, and that can only mean one thing. Simber coming into the game. Adam Simber, 10th appearance in his rookie year. If only that song had been around when Bulldog was pitching, I bet it would have been his entrance song. Strike one on Chris Taylor.
Do I know that song?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's going down. I'm yelling timber.
Oh, yeah, I know that song. Hey, very nice.
Thanks.
You got some more for me?
No, you know it. That's the wrong response if you wanted me to sing more. Taylor sharply hit and through. And now every regular tonight has a base hit. He'll try and make it so that every regular has scored a run in this game. A leadoff single in the 8th.
He had an outstanding batting practice and finally found one that he hit hard here. Boy, does he work hard. There is no getting his game face off once he comes out towards the cage.
Corey Seager, breakout game for him. He's been on all 4 times. You know, it's funny you say that, because then you see Seager come up, and he has this reputation for kind of being a baseball robot. But there's almost more of a lightness to Corey Seager, more of a levity to Corey Seager and his mood around the cage and when he's at work than there is for Chris Taylor. I think Chris is probably even more serious and stone-faced on a day-to-day basis than Corey when he's going about his work.
Yeah, I think neither one is unapproachable.
Not at all.
But you just watch the body language, like there is a purpose to every movement with Chris. And even when he leans on the cage next to Turner Ward, or if he's next to a player maybe talking about something, or he's even watching the next guy hit to see he can pick something up. But yeah, he's locked in.
And you're right, they're both able to do that and have that very professional, serious approach and still remain approachable. Two young guys that I think you'd say you wouldn't mind your daughter marrying.
Exactly. Especially with their salaries. Shoot, might be able to support their father-in-law.
Seager down on strikes, 1 away. Got to let him reach arbitration first.
Okay. Sieg's disappointed there, but he's raised his average 46 points going into that at bat in this series, so he's starting to heat up.
So here's Grandal, and Oral, you may have read after the game last night, Yasmani Grandal opened up about some things he was going through off of the field last year. Swings to the first one from Simber, strike 1. And he obviously lost his job on the field. It was a really tough finish to the season for him. Only made a couple of at-bats in the World Series. And all is well now, but his wife Heather gave birth to Yasmani Jr. last November. And it was a very difficult pregnancy, something that Yasmani kept to himself while he and Heather were going through it. But the chances of everything going smoothly were not good. And thankfully everything did go okay. Yasmani Jr. 5 months now. Everybody's healthy. Grandal hits another rocket into right. It reaches the wall. Chris Taylor busting his way around third. He's given the wave. Spangenberg's throw not in time. Grandal's driven in another with a ringing double, and it's 10-4.
Swinging a hot bat. It doesn't matter right side, left side, driving the ball out of the ballpark into the gap or down the line. Yasmani could not have a better start to 2018, coming off of that rough 2017. Chris Taylor's wheels bring him an RBI.
Every regular is scored in this game for the Dodgers now. Back-to-back games with a 10 spot. With one out, it's Bellinger. And Cody takes high ball one. So over the last couple months of last season, while everything we see is Grandal struggling at the plate, losing his job, losing his starting spot going into the postseason to Austin Barnes. Quietly behind the scenes, every off day, Yasmani was going back to Phoenix to be with Heather as she was going through this very difficult pregnancy. And sometimes the flights didn't line up where he could do that. So what would he do? He'd make a 10-hour round-trip drive in a 24-hour span. 5 hours to Phoenix to be with Heather for a few hours, support her, and then 5 hours in the car right back. Try to go to work with a straight face and still perform. To strike on Bellinger, 1-1.
That was a tremendous job as a husband and a father. And his priorities were in line, and they still are.
Grandal, by the way, has driven in 8 in this 3-game series. One and two. Font Chagua. A Cody chant. Checks his swing on a high fastball. The count evens at 2-2.
(10-4). 8th inning, already a run in, a 14-hit attack by the Dodgers, and Cody Bellinger up there frustrated from his last at bat. He swung at an inside up fastball that he was kind of between, and frustrated as he walked back to the dugout that even offered at it. Up there bearing down again.
$34 runs for the Dodgers in their last 4 games. Bellinger strikes out 2 away. And it has all corresponded with them starting to take their walks again.
Dave Roberts will tell him, win the pitch, win the at bat, win the inning. Short-term goals.
Barnes, the pinch hitter here. Yeah, like we've talked about, the goal is not, okay, guys, let's go up there and walk more. That's not an approach that works. But it's having the proper approach that a lot of times produces those walks. One and one.
Austin Barnes in some ways looking for his 2018 legs still. probably a little disappointed in himself and the situation. Thought he was probably going to get a majority of the playing time coming into this year. But it hasn't worked out that way because Yasmani has been so hot.
Stayed that way in this inning with another RBI. Doubling to right, putting the Dodgers ahead 10-4.
Host the Nationals at 7:10. That's a Friday, and then stay after the game for the fireworks featuring music from the 1980s. Friday Night Fireworks is presented by Denny's. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
JT Chagua on for the bottom of the 8th.
Outstanding spring training, outstanding start to his season here, and he's becoming a very reliable piece out of that pen.
27-year-old out of Sulphur, Louisiana, southwest part of the state near the Texas border. Facing Corey Spangenberg. And strike one. JT stands for John Thomas. John Thomas Chagua. Chagua made his major league debut a couple years back against the Red Sox, and it did not go well. Gave up 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning. And eventually, he locked into the majors, had a nice run before his injury. But when he got home to Louisiana that winter, his family said, "Hey, you're going to be excited, something we saved for you. We kept the video of your first outing."
Oh, no.
Just thinking regardless of how it went, he'd want that. And he said, throw it in the trash. He'd gotten sent to the minors as soon as that game ended. It was one of those where you finally break in, but then you get shelled and they pull you in and say, hey, nice job, kid, but you're headed back to Rochester. And it wasn't for another 2 months that he got another major league opportunity. Spangenberg stays alive, 1-2.
Your friends and your family are thinking it's still a positive thing because you made it to the big leagues.
Right.
It wasn't very long and it wasn't very good. Throw it in the trash.
Here's his 1-2. JT, a big hat guy. Not like every Major League Baseball guy is a hat guy and that they have to wear them. No, he likes hats as part of his formal wear. One of his favorite hat makers is in Los Angeles. And he says the first thing that popped to his mind when his agent told him the Dodgers had claimed him was, hey, let's buy that hat guy. He gets him swinging, 1 out.
That's a much better slider than he's had in the last few outings. This one's actually going down. He'd been throwing some hangers and some sweepers, working really hard to get that ball to change speeds and also change elevation straight down. Good adjustment.
1 away in the 8th. Here's Hedges. Were you ever a hat guy with your formal wear? Any top hats or?
Not really.
Fedoras?
I mean, other than a baseball hat, the next thing would be just a golf hat.
Okay.
But no, the fedora and the big wide brim straw hats, like on vacation, keep the sun off my face.
I can see you in one of those.
Yeah.
Like Greg Norman style.
Yeah, sitting by the pool with my long sleeve t-shirt on and my long, but back then it was those weightlifter pants.
What did those look like?
Oh, they're big and blousy around, you know, the midsection to give you plenty of room for your thighs, and then they were just real thin cotton material down to your feet. And I wasn't one that, you know, lay out in the sun, but I enjoyed sitting around the pool under the cabana reading a book.
You're fairly fair skinned.
Yeah. And grew up just
dribbled in front of the plate. And Randall throws Hedges out, 2 away.
Osmani doing it all, but you know, just grew up in a way that you know, don't go to the pool, don't lay out in the sun. You got a game tonight, you know. And baseball's a long season, even as a youth, and so a lot of days it's like stay out of the sun. I'm pitching tonight. Stay out of the sun. You're playing shortstop tonight, and that's what I kind of grew up with. So I didn't really end up being somebody who craved to be in the sun, other than if it was a day game.
Matt Caesar. Slider for a strike.
It's a nasty slider.
Hard hit, but right at Seager. JT Chagua with a 1-2-3-8. On to the 9th we go in San Diego. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your SoCal Land Rover retailers. Top 9, Craig Stammen into the game for San Diego. Dodgers in front 10-4. Getting 9 of the 10 runs over the first 3 innings against Luis Perdomo.
The Dodgers have gotten healthy here in San Diego. The guy at the plate Facing Stammen. He wants to get healthy. He needs a hit. He's had a ball go off the end of his bat. Ended up being a 1-3 out, and then a foul ball that he 3/4 of the way caught until it dropped after it hit his leg. Glove hit the leg and rolled out. He is frustrated.
Looks at a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. Turner Ward chatting with Puig.
Talking about watching the pitch with 2 eyes instead of 1, the way you turn your head. Turner, no matter when he's talking, he's always trying to teach Yasiel something.
Doesn't it seem like he's always at least on the verge of a smile too when he's talking to Puig?
You saw it right there.
What a man that is, Turner Ward. 2-2. And we talk about these hitters meetings that the Dodgers have to go over starting pitchers before each game. That's not something that's uncommon across baseball, but it's an emphasis that Turner Ward brought over, and he'd instilled in Arizona as the hitting coach there. Peterson goes the other way with a base hit and a sigh of relief.
He needs it. Turner wanted it for him, and it has been a long night for Jock, and he finally hits one hard. All right. It is hard to be a big league coach. Every hitter is not going well at the same time, and even the ones that are going good need attention. You got to be a real giver and a real smart guy at the same time.
You know, Turner describes himself as a maintenance man, as a big league hitting coach. So these guys know so much at this stage about their swings, and of course there's always things they're working on. But his biggest goal is to help these guys maintain once they get to where they're comfortable. A lot of times that involves extra work, right, to lock in the good feelings that you get. You know that's Puig's talking to because he saw the mahogany barrel drop down. 0-2 from Stammen to Hernandez. He hits a fly ball to left center off the end of the bat. It's looping its way in for a base hit. Peterson with a nice job to read that and advance to second. 2 on, nobody out.
Much appreciated by Kike Hernandez that Jock did a good job running the bases instead of having a force out at second base. Kike gets it off the end of the bat. Oh, he's got to check it too to make sure it's still alive, and then Jock did a nice job going 3/4 of the way down here. Continue to read, continue to read. Yes, it's going to fall in.
2 guys that needed it getting hits, Peterson and Hernandez. And now Muncy with 2 on and nobody out, 9th inning. Dodgers have already matched the season high with these 10 runs and looking for more against Stammen. Takes a strike, 0-1. Well, the Dodgers had Chris Taylor as a breakout player last year out of the middle of nowhere. Andrew Tolles the year before. Could Max Muncy be one of those guys this year? And you may say, well, He's at third base. Justin Turner's not going to be out forever. Well, Max Muncy can play all over, which means that he can stick around a little bit longer than if he was just playing one position.
Kind of reminds me of the way Justin Turner all of a sudden got a full-time job. Chris Taylor all of a sudden got a full-time job.
Nice slider, 1-2. Former Baylor Bear Max Muncy. Grew up in Midland and college in Waco. The birthplace of Dr. Pepper. Muncy down on strikes for the first out of the night. Up comes Puig. "16 hits tonight for the Dodgers, by the way, and that is the most in a 9-inning game this year. Dodgers will load the buses up when this game finishes, be on the road about an hour later, and headed back to Los Angeles. For another off day. Ball on a strike.
Not a needed off day, but it should be a fun one after sweeping the Padres.
Norman Font. Two balls, one strike.
He's locking in, dancing in the box up there after that take. I've seen him do that.
Said he sings songs to himself in the box. So the dancing that you see, that's the music in his head.
Fast song.
Punches a base hit to right. Peterson given the wave. Pereira's throw bounces to the cutoff man. RBI single for Puig, and the Dodgers with a new season high. That's 11.
Great execution from what Turner Ward was working on with him. He's slightly open stance, two eyes on the ball, and driving it towards right field. This line drive over the second base area. Boy, that was a bullet.
That's where he goes when he's right.
Yep. They'll work like that for 40 minutes on the field in early BP. Just the two of them out there hitting the ball to the right side of second base on the line.
Taylor with his single in the 8th, 2 for 15 this week in San Diego. Takes a ball. He says, by the way, he's not sure that that ball that Villanueva hit last night was going to go out when he caught it at the wall. He said maybe off the top of the wall. And then it didn't really feel like that difficult to play. They were in no doubles defense, so he was already very deep. And because he kind of got to run along the wall as opposed to straight at it and up. And he certainly made it look easy, but he said it was. It's a play we're referencing. 9th inning last night. He beat the ball to the spot. Tough to do. 1-2.
He's a long way from, oh, he's going to try center field now. Very confident when the ball goes up in the air and it heads towards center with him out there. Center field's that defensive position like shortstop that you have to move people quickly if they can't do it, or if they're even borderline. It's just so glaring.
Strike 3 in the corner. That's the 4th K tonight for Chris. It's the one thing early on for him that is hard to look past, is the fact that the strikeouts and walks are not close to what they were last year. Two on with 2 out, and here's Corey Seager. Seager goes to left center with another base hit. Ricochets off of Caesar. Puig's going to come in to score. It's 13-4. On the 4th hit of the night for Corey Seager. You think he's back?
I think he's back, and these are not lucky hits. He's hitting the ball all over the field. He's hitting it hard to right, 2 hop ground balls there. He's hitting line drives to left. I'll tell you what, he is locked in. Don't hold him down long. Career 300 hitter. There's not many of those active.
Gets Grandal another chance. 2 more hits and a walk tonight. He takes a strike. These are the first runs, by the way, that Craig Stammen has allowed this year.
So you're talking about the Padre bullpen could have continued, but the workload is going to be very heavy on these guys. And the more you work, your stuff gets a little shorter, and then the opposing hitters start to understand what you try to do to get them out.
A lot of smiles down there right now. Oh, by the way, I got word on what they speak to each other.
Okay.
Puig and Ryu. A little bit of Spanish going on. Two 1 pitch. Dribbled along first. Stammen flips to get Grandal, but the Dodgers get 3 more, and they've bookended this game with offensive outbursts. They had 9 over the first 3. They've got 4 over the last 2. play of the game and plenty to choose from. But we'll go with Max Muncy's 2-run shot. His first as a Dodger.
Play of the game, possibly the biggest smile and the most consistent smile since he's been up here. He has thoroughly enjoyed his time in a Dodger uniform. He earned it coming out of spring training to get one of the first looks. They wanted him to be the first one they brought up when Logan Forsythe went down. He wasn't quite ready as far as reps at third base. Got him those reps in a couple games, and boy, he has shown well since he has been here.
Wilmer Font will handle the bottom of the ninth for the Dodgers.
Been working hard with Rick Honeycutt to make some adjustments. You see that ERA well over 9. Well, he's had some good outings, and then he's had some really bad situations where Dodgers have gone ahead in extra innings, and he's the guy that has to bring it home and hasn't been able to finish off a couple of those.
Top of the order, Jose Perella. Strike one. So Friday night, 7:10, Dodger Stadium. Max Scherzer against TBD. Guess all 3 spots for the Dodgers over the weekend are now TBD, depending on if they slide everyone up or just plug somebody in. For the Nationals, we know Scherzer Friday, Strasburg Saturday, Jeremy Hellickson Sunday. Game times are 7:10, 6:10, and then 5:05. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN exclusively, that Sunday game. Perella punches a bouncer to Bellinger's backhand. 1 up. So Jose Perella, the Dodgers limit him in this series to 0 for 14. He came in leading the majors in hits.
Done a number on him. They played good defense when he's hit it hard.
And now Cordero, who's not fared much better, and tonight has struck out all 4 times. How about this? Padres as a team in this series, 45 strikeouts.
That's an awful lot. That's hard to do even if you're trying. Like, let's just go up there and try and hit a home run, and if we strike out, no big deal. But statistically, coming in, they were kind of a all or nothing type of team.
Cordero with a 1-hopper to short. Corey Seager throws him out. And a nice play, 2 gone.
It is not an easy play. The throw's easy after you have the ball, but this ball's hard. This ball is curving, and he gave ground and got a good eye on it right there. Just get a little side saddle, get that third angle on it, put it in the glove. The bat's heating up and the glove is still there.
Hosmer, the last hope. Fastball away, 1-0. One ball, 1 strike. Top 3 in the order. Perella, Cordero, Hosmer in the series, 3 for 39. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dodger pitching has done a number on their top hitters. And you consider Freddie Galvis, who's been at the top of the order much of this series. He's 1 for 14. And the offense has come alive. Just barely gets a piece, and then he gets a big chunk on the right hand of Hunter Wendelstedt. He's thinking, geez, we're 1 strike from the night ending, and I take a ball off the hand.
You've got to get that hand back behind it. You got a shin guard there. Get the hand out of the way.
1-2 again. Dodgers outscoring the Padres 30-10 in these 3 games. It's 37 runs over the last 4 for LA. Field foul. So the record's going to sit at 8-9 with a chance to get to 500 against the reigning Cy Young Award winner on Friday night. Heck of a challenge. The first really premium starter, the very top of his game right now, that the Dodgers will face this year. That's a bouncing ball to first. Bellinger takes it to the bag. The Dodgers have won 4 in a row as they sweep the Padres in San Diego.
First series win, first series sweep, and a very fun 3 days here in San Diego for the Dodgers.
Off day tomorrow, then a big series, big early season series with the Nationals opening up on Friday night at Dodger Stadium. For Oro Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from San Diego. Looking forward to this weekend. Hope to come out to the ballpark, and if not, we'll talk to you on Sportsnet LA Friday night. For now, stay tuned for Access Sportsnet Dodgers after this 13-4 Dodger